So you want to get your pension, you want to retire from your state job, you go to work 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, at your little government office, doing your little busy work paperwork, and everything's going to be honky-dory because at the end of it, after all that hard work that you give your state government, you're going to get that sweet, delicious check at the end of your working years, and you're going to ride off into the sunset, right? Welcome back to Strongman Personal Finance. I want to reiterate that pensions are one of the most disgusting scams that I've ever seen perpetuated on the American people. There is no more toxic risk to your long-term financial health than state pensions. So if you have a state or local government job, it ain't looking too rosy. Now, I'm sure the federal government or something will come bail these clowns out because these pension programs are a disaster. But do you really want to count on that? So we're going to go through this. We're going to look at the funded ratio of state pension plans. Which state pension plans are the best when it comes to assets set aside versus liabilities they expect to pay into the future. And we're going to look at the worst, the best and the worst. And then I'm going to show you how much of a scam this pension program is for most of you because of the amount that the state governments have to pay into these pension plans in order to sustain it. And they're putting in a huge chunk of your lost earnings because you never got them because they went into these pension plans. And you're losing money that you could have invested in a total market index and a tax advantage account, right? So a pension, if you didn't know, is a program where you work for a government and they take a certain amount out of your paycheck and the government itself matches it or maybe even puts in more money. And all the money goes to this pot. And this pot of money is managed by whoever manages the pension for your state. And their job is to invest the assets and distribute the assets to retirees. So money's coming in, gets invested, and money goes out. That's a pension plan. I have a personal pension myself. It's called the Roth IRA and 401k. But everybody seems to hate those for some reason. Well, let's see how bad the good old days, good old boy pensions are. So I pulled up this amazing article from Equitable. I mean, it could be complete BS. Who freaking knows? But they wrote this article, Unfunded Liabilities for State Pension Plans in 2023. Unfunded liabilities. What is the liability of a pension plan? Benefits that are going to be paid to retirees. That's you. So let's go and read this. Based on the funded ratio, Tennessee, Washington, Utah, and South Dakota, and D.C. have the best funded pension plans. The worst funded plans are Illinois, Kentucky, New Jersey, and Connecticut. So they got this cool, nifty little map here. And if you zoom in a little bit, you can see that the darker the color, the less funded it is. So if you live in one of these states and you work for a state government, because, you're going to get your check, it's so worth it, right? Don't go to the private sector. You might want to be a little bit concerned about the solvency of your pension plan. You might want to be concerned about how much of your check you're actually going to get, because it may not be as much as you're promised, okay? These pension plans, which just pay you a check for life, are usually for teachers, state and city employees, public safety officers, public utility, wildlife, blah, 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 blah. Basically, if you work for a state government, you probably have some kind of liberal and amazing pension plan. Check this out. The United States has promised at least $6.6 trillion in future retirement benefits to the members of the largest 228 public retirement systems. But nationally, state by state, it's different. The U.S. has only set aside $5.1 trillion to pay these benefits. Now, there's assumptions that are baked into these pension plans because when the money goes in, they don't have $5 trillion right now. But they have these assumptions that if they invest the money that you're contributing and your employer's contributing, at a certain point, it'll grow and be $5.1 trillion at some time in the future. And that's what will be used to pay beneficiaries. Hopefully the assumptions that are baked into this are good as well. I'm not so sure about that, okay? This means that there is a national public pension funding shortfall of about $1.49 trillion. Collectively, that is just 77.4% of the money that should be in state and local pension funds today. So they don't have enough money in there to pay future beneficiaries. But don't worry, if you're a young state employee, I'm sure you're going to get your nice little check. So let's go ahead and see how bad this is. So they rank it, all the states, from 1 to 50. And if you see a negative number, that means the plan actually has more money set aside than what is necessary in the future. So negative number is actually good. Positive number, bad. So we can see, like they said, Tennessee, Washington, Utah, and South Dakota, man, they're chads. Literally $0 of unfunded liabilities. These all have enough money set aside to where, assuming the assumptions are correct, they're going to have enough money to pay future beneficiaries. So if you're a young little employee in Tennessee, you're probably going to get your nice little, government check. However, we start to go down the list. Oh, D.C., Nebraska, Delaware, and we go, 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 all the way to the most unfunded, which is California. Now, obviously, California is a bigger state. It's a bigger state. But that doesn't mean that there's a shortfall. So some states that are bigger, obviously, are going to have larger unfunded nominal amounts, but they also have a chart where they look at it as a percentage of GDP. So really, the percentages over here are what you really want to concern yourself. Illinois, 51% unfunded. Or is that funded? It's freaking bad, okay? What do they have? Funded ratio. Yeah, 51% funded. So they basically have enough set aside to potentially pay 51% of future benefits. How does that sound, ladies and gentlemen? You live in Illinois. How do you feel about that? New Jersey, another freaking disaster. Connecticut, disaster. South Kakalaki, disaster. And on and on and on and on. Now, they also have this cool little chart right here, which is the funded status as a share of the state economic output. So they have the unfunded liabilities as a percentage of the state's gross domestic product, basically how much income is earned in the state within a year. So the more right that you go, the more bad it is. Because like you go up and you can look at these nominal numbers, and it's like, oh yeah, this number is really big for California. But California also is a very high income state. I mean, it's richer than most countries in the freaking world, okay? So we can see over here, Illinois has a funded ratio of, well, I think it's inconsistent from what was before. Oh, this is as of 2022. So as of 2022, their funded ratio is 46.9%, but their unfunded liability as a percentage of gross domestic product is 21%. Basically, they would have to take 21% of the state income, all the income earned in the state, which most of that's not going to go to the government, in order to fund these plans. It ain't looking too good for people that live in Illinois. Oh my God, I would not be a state employee there. So you can see that it's pretty dire. Here's where the real scam comes in, okay? So I was reading this other article here, and it talks about how much employees and employers have to set aside. So if you think about it, they're taking money out of your paycheck. And this is money that could be invested in a IRA, a 401k, or even a taxable brokerage. But instead of doing that, they take the money out of your paycheck and they put it in these clownish pension plans. That sounds like a great deal, right? I know people are addicted to income, like we the Khmers. Total clown. If you're gonna get a check, that's all that matters. But you got to think about where your money's going, okay? And if you're actually gonna get that money. Look at this, Alabama. Member contribution rate. So the employees from the Alabama Employees Retirement System put in 7.5% of their paycheck into these pension plans. That's more than Social Security. So you're on top. Well, maybe some of these probably have some agreement where they don't pay Social Security, but that's still a significant amount of your paycheck that instead of going into a 401k, which you can invest in a total market index fund, tax advantage account, you got to go in these crappy, clownish pension funds. And of course, the employer is putting in 14.8%. And even then, they're a Social Security participant. It has a yes or no here if they could participate in Social Security. So if you work in Alabama for the Alabama Employees Retirement System, if you fall under that, 7.5% of your paycheck is going in, and then Social Security takes another 6.2%, and then your employer's got to put in 14.8%. What if your employer just didn't take that and, I don't know, gave you this to invest yourself? If their employer put 14.8% of your paycheck as like a match into your 401k, I think that would probably be a little bit more good for your long-term investment success. But, I'm stupid, okay? So we keep looking, Alabama, this is for the teachers. They got, Arkansas, Arizona, blah, 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 blah. And you can see they're taking massive amounts. Look at Arizona. Oh, my God, 12%? Do you really want to put 12% of your money into these garbage pension plans? No, okay? It's not good to be in these plans. Everybody, they miss the days when we used to have pensions. Oh my God, America has betrayed us because now we have these, rapacious, evil retirement plans, 401ks, IRAs. You have to control your own destiny. But then they charge you these huge percentages, and then they put in these garbage pensions. This is horrible. So do not ever work for a job because of a pension. Most of these plans are unfunded. They have unfunded liabilities. They have less invested than what they project to pay. And they're taking huge portions out of your paycheck. If somebody gave me 14.8%, oh my Lord, I would be wealthy. Oh my God. 14.8% of my pay that I could invest in VC, that is heaven on earth. But instead, they put in whatever clownish investments they put the money in. Private equity. And it's a bunch of rip-off scam garbage, okay? So I always rail against pensions. And I'm objectively showing you they don't have enough money invested, and they're still taking your money out. So the people that are retired now, they're doing great. Old Billy Bob, Mr. Truck Boy, he's doing great. He's getting his little government check. But you, as a youngie, you might have some issues in the future. I'm just warning you. So pensions are nasty. They're evil. They take way too much out of your paycheck. And if they had instead given you the money or just not taken it out of your payroll and allowed you to invest it, man, even if they made it mandatory to put 7.5% into your 401k, I don't see a problem with that. I mean, your freedom, blah, blah, blah. But that would be a lot better with a 14.8% additional contribution. That would be enormously better. Unless you're just such a toad, such a slug, that you can't manage your own money. But you know what? Capitalism's evil. Pensions are amazing. Government, blah, 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 blah. It's a freaking scam. Be careful out there. I would say go to the private sector, but, we don't got pensions. Oh, we don't got pensions. But that's your choice. Have a wonderful day. Cheers.